let this load up here on Twitch for a minute, and then we'll go ahead and get started, Jay.
Okay, just let me know.
Alright, Jay, whenever you are ready.
Okay, one moment, I'll be ready to go. Okay. So, is there anything in particular that you don't want us to talk about, in particular with your site, Mr. Irvine? Like anything not spoilery or anything that you don't want given out to the public?
It's Irvine, and
okay, sorry.
No, it's all right. It happens all the time. At least you didn't say Irving because I don't have a G. But no, I mean you can talk about it, anything you guys want from that site. I'm an encyclopedia, so.
Okay. All right, Swarley, did you send out anything as far as Twitter is concerned for the recording of the podcast?
Right now.
Okay. All right, just let me know when you're ready to start.
I'll go ahead.
Okay. Hey everybody, welcome back to a very special edition of the Virtual Sports Network Arcade Podcast, sponsored by VirtualSportsNetwork.com. Sign up for the forums today. We are here on the illustrious Labor Day weekend. This is Monday, and we are here to talk to a very special guest, one of the lead heads of SimulationFL.com, the man himself, Cameron Irvine. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. Just happy to have a. Well, I don't get a 3-day weekend, but I'm glad everybody else does.
Definitely. We brought you here today to talk about your site. What exactly you guys do over at SimulationFL.com. That's SimulationFL.com. So what exactly you guys do over there at the site?
So back in 2009, we started a project where we wanted to be able to build a league that could connect Xbox 360 people and PlayStation 3 people, and now basically Xbox people and PlayStation people. Because when you play online, you can only play friends that have your console. Otherwise, you're pretty much SOL. And there's a lot of people out there that don't necessarily, like going online and playing someone who's going to select the same play over and over again, or is going to quit in the middle of the game if they're getting beat badly, that type of stuff. There's some negatives to the online gaming realm. So we thought that we would create a league where you could operate your own team as a coach, as a general manager, as an owner. You kind of control the whole operation, and you get to put an identity and your own spin on it. And it's been a long journey. We started on Backbreaker. That game was a flop. Then we went over to the NCAA series. That game was a flop. Obviously, we needed a game that would allow owners to get creative, because it's a non-NFL product. It's a creation project. And then we finally settled on All Pro. And since we made the switch, and since we concised our teams to 8 to fit the All-Pro football roster specifications, we have just seen giant support from those who gravitate towards 2K football still, and those who gravitate towards football in general. I'm a sports journalist, and on the side I like to do broadcasting, and maybe would like to one day make a career out of it. And so I blended the two avenues together of people's creativity and my abilities to put together a unique product and situation where owners get to watch their teams play live all over the world, on roughly 20 weekends per year, and get to hear play-by-play commentary of their teams, like their teams are being broadcast on national television, and we keep track of all statistics and historical stats and all of our players who originally were nothing, didn't have any storylines or anything like that. They were given storylines where they went to college, and who they are. And over the last 3 seasons, as our league has grown and as our league has developed history and storylines, they now really have become people that online football fans can gravitate towards. So right now we're rolling in our 3rd season and actually getting back on the air here in the next couple hours with what we're calling SFL Pride Day, as we've been off the air for a couple of weeks because I had a PS3 crash. It had lasted me 10 years, and it was time to move on. So now we're trying to build back up and get back on. So that's basically our history and what we do.
Sounds very cool. Very cool. Now, for those who would prefer to be in a league, because really there's no other football game in the eyes of the general public since NCAA football's dropped, that Madden has basically taken over the landscape. Where do you guys see yourself different with still running off of All-Pro Football 2K?
Well, I think the difference is, and Madden has made strides through the years, and obviously it's a game that most gravitate towards. But I think what draws us to the 2K product is well, first of all, just All-Pro's ability to allow you to be able to create create teams and create organizations. And in Madden, you can relocate franchises, but you're still tied down to the NFL. And until Madden brings a creative team element back, for us and our business model and our concept and the creative realm that we play in and that we organize our business in, Madden just doesn't do what we need it to do as a game in its current state. And All-Pro still does that. And All-Pro's gameplay, which if you're a 2K fan, you feel was probably very underrated and is still, is still a great game. It provides us a simulation product that from playing a lot of football games all my life, is the best that I've seen in the way the computer plays the computer, and it gives such a real and true football experience that is something that you kind of have to see to believe, and see the whole product come together from the play-by-play to the to the gameplay of the CPU, and to all the nuances that go into our broadcasts and into our league and our organization, and that's kind of what game fits us best, so we're gonna roll with that until something better comes along, and it hasn't gotten old yet. It still produces some pretty unique stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting to see a league out there with something other than Madden or even NCAA. I mean, there are just oceans of Madden leagues, and to see something completely different, that's pretty refreshing. Well,
and there's a league that partnered with us that is kind of keeping All-Pro football alive at casualadultgamers.com, and they got a franchise this offseason, the Baltimore Crabs, and their whole league from top to bottom is involved with the team, from owners to head coaches to a guy that is in charge of kind of finding guys in the off season to build the team up with, to all of their players were named after guys in their league, so every user over there has an investment in terms of watching their player, basically on internet TV, wanting to see how they do, and if they can be a leader, if they can step up and make a big play for their team. And that's kind of what we're gravitating towards, is just trying to get people involved, in the league, whether it be as an owner or a coach or a coordinator or a rookie player or anything like that, and we're trying to navigate through how we can how we can grow and really make it a unique and true experience regardless of what game it's being played on. We're hoping that eventually that won't even matter.
So one thing that I noticed when going through your guys' website is that you like to keep the amount of teams low, and you go at a much slower pace than a lot of Madden leagues do, because you like to kind of create that atmosphere of a special event. What made you guys decide to go with that instead of playing 2 or 3 games per week?
Well, it's interesting because it's difficult. It has its challenges, and it actually operates like a true to life league. Even though that's not necessarily what the intention or what is typical out of online leagues, but each game is roughly 2 hours long. We have owners create quote unquote partnerships with companies and organizations, and they run commercials on end of quarter breaks, and we have having 3 games a week at least at 2 hours a pop. It's a full presentation, and that ends up being 6.5 hours long, which is the time I'm spending in front of the mic broadcasting these games and bringing that unique experience. So when you put it all together, playing 2 to 3 games a week is something that per team would just be unfathomable unless it was my full-time job, which as you guys probably know is almost near impossible with trying to get an actual paying gig in this business. So it's really something that is difficult to grow. So we try to grow within the 8 teams that we have, or the 8 slots that we have, and we are unfortunately limited to that because of our business model. But the positive side of it is that each game is, as you said, a special occasion. Your team only plays 16 games a year. When your team's on the field, it's a big deal. You don't have a lot of chances to win. So you want to take advantage of those chances. And throughout the week, owners are able to scout their opponents. They're able to go through their playbook and make adjustments. And as you guys might know, in All Pro, playbooks can be built custom play by play. So all the owners in the league, all the coaches, all the coordinators have playbooks that are custom built, that they built play by play. And they can make adjustments according to their opponent, because we keep statistics of the year for players and teams, and historically they can try to scout teams, their opponents' weaknesses, and they can try to exploit that. And there's a number of different things that they can do throughout the week to try to get a win. And when you're playing a few games a week, you don't necessarily have that time to make that schematic adjustment. You just go out there and play, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the level of detail that these 8 teams operate with is something that may not often be seen from an outsider, from somebody that just stumbled upon the league. It's a lot of intricate detail that goes with it, and that's what makes our games and our game days as special as we can make them.
Very, very unique. It's cool to see something done so differently from the norm. I love broadcasting games, and to have something like this where every single game is broadcasted, and it's special like that. It's cool to see.
Well, and we try to, with me doing play-by-play on the air, as opposed to a Jim Nantz or a Phil Simms or a Dan Stevens and Peter O'Keefe, and as opposed to the computer doing it, is we are able to infuse our own history into broadcasts that make it stand out from the video game itself. So a perfect example is the game that's going to hit the air in a couple hours. Oklahoma City is traveling to San Francisco, and Oklahoma City's quarterback, this guy is Jasper Hart. And Jasper Hart was San Francisco's old quarterback, and in the first year he got hurt and missed the remainder of the season. San Francisco actually made the playoffs that year and played Oklahoma City in the semifinals, lost 14-13 because San Francisco missed an extra point. Now, actually it was 16-13 overtime. They would have won that game if they would have made that extra point. Now, in EA Sports games in general, even in the old 2K games, I've never seen a computer miss an extra point. And we haven't seen that maybe but a couple of times in 60-plus games in all those touchdowns in these simulations from the computer. But in that specific game, it happened, and it happened to be the downfall of San Francisco's season. Well, flash forward a couple of seasons, Jasper Hart didn't do much in San Francisco last year, so San Francisco decided to part ways, and Oklahoma City ended up taking a chance on the guy, and Oklahoma City signed Jasper Hart. So this will be Jasper Hart's first time traveling back to San Francisco to face his former team, and he has an opportunity to eliminate San Francisco from playoff contention. The Bulldogs are 2-4, and Oklahoma City is 3-2. That amount of storyline and intrigue we can infuse throughout the week in our preview stories, in our social media updates, and in our broadcast itself. So when people tune in, they're not just watching a game being simulated by the computer. They are watching a league and teams that have some history.
That's crazy. So what are some of your favorite things about running a league like this?
It's just fun, and a lot of good friendships have been made too. These people have been around for a long time, and obviously the door shuffles people in and shuffles people out whenever they feel it's time to focus their part-time stuff on other hobbies. But for the most part, we've had the same people stick with us year in and year out, and you make friends and you make relationships with these people, and you really everybody really grows attached, and you really grow into a sort of football family. The guy that owns Grand Rapids and the guy that owns Orlando, they live around those respective cities, and they share the same last name. They're unrelated, but they share the same last name. That was something they instantly bonded over, and we ended up deeming it the Walsh Bowl. That's their last name. And every time those teams play, it seems that they to present ridiculous results. And it's just something, it's just one of those things where it's almost like the computer knows it's a rivalry game, and those games just seem to have an extra level of insanity to them. And so it's it's just another storyline and something that makes the league special, and it's those type of things, and seeing people tune into the broadcast, enjoy it, have some fun watching some football, and it's you can never have enough football. You've got the NFL, you've got college, you've got high school, you've got minor leagues, and you've got the SFL. We want to be our own brand and present people an outlet to say, oh, the SFL is on, and we have seen that steady growth. We've seen tremendous growth this season 3 with CAG coming on board, and us doing a better job of getting the word out and partnering with people like Virtual Sports Network to try and have some cross promotion there.
Yeah, I personally run a PC sim racing league, so I definitely know where you're coming from with the friendships that have developed, and it's a lot of fun to do stuff like that. Yeah,
it's a blast, and it's a lot of work, but when you're having fun doing it, it doesn't feel like work usually.
Exactly. Jay, you got any other questions?
Well, I would like to ask, out of all the seasons that have come and gone for the SFL up until this point, what would be one of your favorite moments that you've had so far, being the commissioner of the league?
You know, we've seen our Twitch followers have gone up over 500% this year. We've seen growth in our website hits and our YouTube subscribers, and we see the word starting to spread. But I go back to our first championship game, and because we have stats and because we have video on demand and all those things, we are able to look back on those games. And it was played September 10th, 2013, which was a little over a year ago. It was kind of a crowning moment for us in our development as a sim product. And Oklahoma City faced New York. New York won that game 45-41 with a game-winning drive in the final. I'm looking at it with 20 seconds to go. Joseph Redfeather, the New York quarterback at the time, threw a touchdown pass to win the game. That was after Oklahoma City scored a 67-yard touchdown pass. I'm looking back at the stats here with 1:16 to go to take a 41-38 lead. At the end of that half, there was a 24-yard fumble return off a punt that gave New York a 31-24 halftime lead. And it was a game that was just absolutely sensational. And it was one of those moments where after the game was over, as the game was going on, we all kind of looked at each other and said, this league could become really special if we keep seeing games simulated like this, because it was just a fantastic display of how smart a computer can really be, and I would definitely say that was a crowning moment for the league. And also this year too, we've had, we've broken live viewer records that we had in the past, and we've had some thrilling overtime games, and we had the largest comeback in league history earlier this year when I'm trying to look back at it here. Kahlua was down 20-0 on Grand Rapids, ended up winning that game 30-29 in the final minute. So I mean, we've seen some crazy stuff, and just seeing the level of growth and the level of appreciation for the product has definitely been the best and brightest moments. And I want to mention that our doubleheader starts at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern, with Oklahoma City and San Francisco, and then our two top teams, Baltimore, who is undefeated, who still has not lost a game as a franchise, will travel to New York to take on the Knights, who are 4-2, and the Knights have not lost at home this year. And that's a rematch of Week 1, where Baltimore won 30-27 in overtime in a come-from-behind game. And that was their first ever meeting. And due to the location of those two owners, one living in the Buffalo area and the other in Baltimore, there's a location rivalry there, as those two guys have kind of become rivals, so to speak. There's just a lot of fun stuff going on. We're going to have our first All-Star game as well the week following our championship game to kind of put the best players on the field and let that go. So it's fun time.
Very cool. We do have a question from the audience. Mr. Smash Killums asks, wants to know how your new player process works.
Well, the player process is a chore, I tell you. With 2K's limitations, I had to work really hard at creating players really fast. And each team has 10 star players to allow us to be able to create all 20 players on a roster and put 10 on each team. And then each team plays with a legend lineman, offensive lineman, so as to not distort our statistics. And basically, when a game happens, I create those 20 players, and we play the game, and then I delete those 20 players, and I create the next 20. And I've gotten it down to where I can create a player in about roughly 60 seconds. And it's just going through, and we have a player database where all the player information is sorted, So I just go right down the line, and I just plug in their attributes and their abilities, and we get them all created, pop them in the game, play another game, kick them out, and put 20 more in there. So it's definitely a learned process, but that's what we have to do to get it done, and I'm happy to do it.
60 seconds. Wow. That is insane.
So you got about 30 minutes before the game between Oklahoma City and San Francisco is about to pop off. Was there anything else that you'd like to promote as far as the SFL is concerned, or any other personal promotions you want to put out there? Any links, any Twitter links you want to put out there so people can plug directly into this right before the game kicks off, or perhaps see anything of the SFL in the near future?
Well, actually, it's 3 p.m. Central. I'm sorry I didn't clarify. So it's about an hour and a half away. Hour and a half away from kickoff. 4 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
And you can like the league on Facebook, follow the league on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, or subscribe to our Twitch. And it's all at /SimulationFL, which is just like our website. So you can go to those various social media outlets and find us that way. And give us a follow, and we'll send we'll post links when game recaps are up, we have a newsletter each week, and we do top plays of the week and stuff. So we'll post when those are up. But I just have to say, I really appreciate Virtual Sports Network for having us on. We do some cross promotion, so. You VSN fans, when you're watching the game, you'll see the ad pop up for Virtual Sports Network as part of our partnership with you guys. And if you have not experienced a game, it's something that you have to experience. We all think it's pretty cool. Obviously, I run it, so I'm a little biased, but. It's just a fun time, a celebration of some good, smart football. I still have a little bit of work to do to try to get these games back on the air. So I appreciate your time, and for all of you newcomers listening, appreciate your time as well. And you guys have a great afternoon, and we're gonna have a lot of fun this evening.
Yeah. Definitely, if you guys haven't, go ahead and follow twitch.tv/SimulationFL and tune into one of their games today. I know I will be tuning in to one of them for the first time, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Sounds great, guys. Thanks for having me on.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Well, it says it's 3 p.m. Central. I'm looking at it.
It's 1:30 Central now.
I am dumb. I'm the dumbest person in all the dumb land, and I do apologize, Irvine, for cutting him off so quickly. If you want to talk a little bit more about his SFL site, shit, man.
All right. So the viewers out there, we are going to take a minute or two. And then we are going to kick off the rest of our podcast that we normally do, which is talking about just regular gaming news and whatnot. So you can see the agenda there on the screen. We will be kicking that off here in a minute or so.
Be ready for a lot of cussing. It's going to be fun.
Seriously though, that's kind of cool what they do. It's cool to see something other than Madden being played.
Well, like we were talking about off air, I was really I've seen leagues like this online, maybe not to the extent that the SFL website looks like. It looks highly professional. From what I gather from Mr. Irvine, it is a lot of work being put into the site itself. A lot of time, a lot of care put into these teams from all the different owners, from the commissioner himself. For anybody that owns anything that has to do with the site, they have really put in a lot of time, a lot of effort into this whole entire shindig. And it's not just, you play your games, you put a bunch of stats on, and that's it. There's more to it than that. And I do appreciate seeing something like that. Like, I never heard about this before until today. And now I'm looking at it, I'm like, I want to see this. I want to see this go down, especially that he's saying that he does his own professional commentary along with the games. It's not just, watching the games and then when they're done, they're done. It's a lot of stuff put into this, and I would like to see this happen.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch the game tonight at 6 with the Baltimore and New York. I'm excited to see how this is gonna go down.
Definitely.
All right, so I think I am ready. I will hit record and then I'll give you a few seconds to start up. We'll just go into the games played and pickups thing. So.
Oh, the real podcast? I'm kidding.
All right, so I am hitting record now, and
okay.
whenever you want to go.
All right, and everybody that's in the chat right now that's giving us the big ups and the thank you so much. We do appreciate you guys coming out to come see us do this, to watch us do the podcast, watch us do the interviews. We do appreciate it. Okay, so give me like a 5-second drop, and then we'll get right into it. Hope you guys are ready for some fun. All right. Hey everybody, welcome back to a very special edition of the Virtual Sports Network Arcade Podcast, sponsored by VirtualSportsNetwork.com. Sign up for the forums today. Now, previously we just did an interview with Mr. Cameron Irvine of the SFL, aka the SimulationFL. That's SimulationFL.com. Check them out. See them today because they are about to do 2 championships games today between the Oklahoma City and San Francisco, as well as Baltimore versus New York. First start time is going to be at 3 p.m. Central. Second time is going to be at 6 p.m. Central. Please check them out. Give them your love. Give them your support. We are going to go along here with the episode 102 with the agenda that Mr. Producer Man himself, Swarley, has put together lovingly today. Now, what we like to do here today is we usually start off with talking about games we've played and games we have picked up recently. Regular season games. Thank you very much. Please edit that out. Oh, God. This is live. It's good stuff. I'm an idiot. Thank you for pointing that out, X Factor 56. I do appreciate it. So let's start off here with games we've played recently. Starting with you, Swarley. What have you been playing recently, man?
Oh, I admit I have been neglecting my regular games. I've been all about the iRacing for the past couple weeks. Got ready, did a whole bunch of preparation with Mr. Hard Hit Ozone from VSN for last week's Zolder 2.4 hour race. We both did fairly well on that. Both finished top 10, so that was fun. And then this week I just I kind of wanted to get something different, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try out the oval side of racing and iRacing, and I just did a whole bunch of grinding to up my license. So I could run some IndyCar Oval, and that is about all I've been doing recently. I have played some Diablo 3 on the PlayStation 4, just the vanilla version of Diablo 3. Started out in Act 1 with a wizard. Love that game. Love the ranged combat with that character. Other than that, I haven't played a dang thing. This week I've got to get myself back into the regular groove. I think I'm going to start up Alpha Protocol on the PC and do a stream of that.
Very cool, very cool. Now, X Factor's asking exactly what racing game are you using while you're doing this?
I am using iRacing from iRacing.com on the PC. It is. I've played many sim racing games in my day, and that one is the only one that, I mean, well, not the only one, but that's just the one it's stuck. I haven't come across something that does the racing as a whole better. So, iRacing it is.
Now, we have promoted your site, we've promoted your league consistently, but we never actually got into the nitty-gritty when it comes to using games such as iRacing, previously using games like Forza. What does it take to run a league such as yours?
Just a...
Put you on that spot, son.
Basically just, have some members that are all about clean racing, because that's really what it's about. You don't want to jump into, it was back in the Forza days, the Gran Turismo days, where you jump in public lobbies and people just wreck you every corner, and it's just terrible. That's a lot of what's behind creating the league and keeping it running is just that desire to have some clean racing. Just having everything up to date, set rules and regulations. That's really about it. We've been going for 3 years now, 3 or 4 years now, through Forza. Some guys started on Forza 3. I started with Forza 4. Went to 5. Did a little dabbling in Gran Turismo and Formula 1, and now we are on to iRacing. So.
All right. Now, for those who are new, especially those who are just joining us in the chat room as well as those who are going to catch us on iTunes or Podomatic or out in the ether out there, possibly catching us over at virtualsportsnetwork.com, can you give people a website in order to find this, just in case they want to catch up or follow you guys in the near future?
Yeah, go to www.virtualsportsnetwork.com and, of course, sign up for the forums today. Our league is called the Apex Racing League. It is about halfway. It's about in the middle of the forum list on the site. We only do iRacing at the moment. Occasionally we'll throw in another game for fun, like Assetto Corsa or Forza, something like that. This fall we will also be adding a Project Cars League that will be running on the PC. So yeah, if you're interested in clean racing, come and check us out. We just finished up season 3 of our GT3 championship in Apex, so that's pretty fun, and we'll be kicking off our next season next Sunday night. And also, I do broadcast the league races, so it'll be every Sunday night at practice. Practice kicks off around 6:30 Central Time.
So if you want to dig some simulation racing, follow Mr. Swarleyman himself over at twitch.tv/Swarley133. That's twitch.tv/SWARLEY133. Check that out. Check him out. And for God's sakes, enjoy some simulation racing. Something different that's out there that isn't, Dota, that isn't LOL. Something interesting for once, people. Okay. Well, we talked about games you're playing recently. Have we talked about games that you picked up recently?
Pickups. I picked up Diablo, the Ultimate Evil Edition, of course. I picked up. There was some sales going on Steam. Oh, I can't remember when it was. It was sometime over the last week. It was. I think it was something to do with PAX or something. I don't know. It was. But I went ahead while they were on sale. I completely forgot that I had about $20 in my Steam wallet. So it worked out perfectly. I picked up Deadfall Adventures, which is quite possibly the worst game I have ever played. I played it on the Xbox 360. It came out, I think it came out last year. It's kind of a Uncharted / Tomb Raider ripoff. And it's just, the graphics are terrible. The voice acting and the story writing are the absolute worst. But for some reason, I enjoyed it so much, and I can't wait to play it again. I picked that up for like $10, and then I picked up Tomb Raider Underworld for like $8 or something. So that was pretty cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
Oh, and Mr. TJ asks, are the racing broadcasts archived here? I need to go back and archive a couple of them. There might be some already archived, but our final championship round last weekend is not. It's not highlighted yet. It should be. It should be archived, but I haven't highlighted it yet. I will highlight it with just the race. I'll do that in the next day or two. So.
Okay.
What about you, Jay? What have you played and bought?
What have I played and bought? Jeez, you're putting me on the spot here, man. Like yourself, I just recently picked up Diablo 3, the Reaper Souls edition for PlayStation 4. Like you said before, you had been playing recently. I guess I had the opportunity to play with you first as far as a hopefully ongoing campaign with the Bro Up sessions. Unfortunately, our first session, I believe it's still recorded in your VODs, correct?
It should be in there.
Okay, when we tried starting, it was basically undermined by the whole DDoS situation, which we'll be talking about later on during the podcast, so we'll go over that.
Oh, yeah. That was fun.
it did record the VOD, unfortunately, on my side of things. Since I had the camera rolling, I didn't do anything dumb on camera, but I really felt like it wasn't, I don't want to say professional, but it wasn't, if I was ever to have a standard to hold up to, it wasn't up to that snuff. So I'm glad that you are still having your part of the equation. So the next time, and I hope when you have the time, there will be a next time for another broadcast here. We'll keep on going with that because I am kind of digging the Demon Hunter character on that game, but I've been playing like pretty much every other class since then, avoiding playing the Demon Hunter so I can play with you.
That Demon Hunter looks badass.
Pretty rad. Lately I have been playing, I don't know, so many other classes. I even tried out the hardcore mode where basically it's just like, I don't know, whatever the kids say, it's like YOLO, I guess it is. Like, you only got one life to live, I guess. And basically, like, the minute you die, your character's done. It's flat. It's in the ground. So I put it on hard. I played it as Crusader because I'm not gonna touch the Crusader until I finish the game. So I tried that on hardcore mode. I got up to like level 4 or level 8, I believe. It's on my highlights on my own Twitch site. I won't pimp that till the end of the broadcast though. But yeah, I got like barely anyway into the game, and like I just got flat. It sucked, but I understood what was going on there, and I was like, oh, okay. So basically, with regular Diablo, you're just sitting there and you're taking damage, and this is just like, okay, well, you actually have to pay attention in hardcore mode, or else you're going to die, and that's what happened. So.
That's actually pretty cool. I didn't even realize that existed. There's this guy that when I first started getting into watching Twitch, there was this guy who played RPGs, who did that one life and it's done. Whenever he died, he would delete the character and restart, and I always thought that was really cool.
Was that Professor Broman?
That was.
Because
he's doing his name.
Because he's doing that currently, like the same idea with Borderlands. Like he's currently at PAX right now, but before he left, he started doing like one life runs on Borderlands, and every time he died, he just deleted the character and kept on going, which is pretty cool.
I can't remember the guy's name. He hasn't been on in so long, but he would do all the BioWare games. He did Skyrim. He did Vampire the Masquerade. Yeah, for the life of me, I can't remember his name. It's been so long since he's been on. It's kind of sad.
Well, if you're listening out there, we're talking about you. What else have I been playing? Well, I recently just finished The Last of Us Remastered, and I also finished up the Left Behind DLC.
Lazarius, that's his name.
Lazarius, there you go. Okay, what else have I been playing? I recently started up First Light, that DLC for Infamous, on the PlayStation 4. I thought that was pretty interesting. However, when I tried streaming it, I could only put it on like 30-minute chunks because every time I don't want to say when the graphics got too intensive because that's no longer an excuse when it comes to playing online. But basically, like the connectivity between my PlayStation 4 and Twitch itself, like after 30 minutes or so, it's just like you're offline. Didn't even give me any warning. I didn't get to see anything as far as like the now loading circular thing that usually shows up whenever it's buffering on your screen whenever you're live to Twitch. I didn't even get to see that. It just cut off. And then I looked over on my screen because I run my whole thing on one-man operation on my laptop. And then I'm seeing the buffering, like, because I'm on like a 4 to 8 second delay, and I'm like, oh, okay. And like I thought I was recording parts ahead, and I got nothing, so I have to go back and do that. But the game itself, if I was going to do a preview, review type of thing, it plays like Infamous Second Son. You start off with Neon Power since you're playing as Fetch instead of Delsin this time. It's more like a prequel idea of how exactly Fetch made her way through Seattle into Curtin K, and supposedly how you escape Curtin K and then make your way into the beginning of Infamous Second Son, which is very interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited to jump into that. I loved Second Son, and she was definitely one of my favorite characters, so I'm excited to play that at some point. I'll probably dive into it sometime here in September.
Yeah, definitely with those who are upset that there wasn't that much characterization when it comes to Fetch, you definitely get that sense of how in Second Son there was more of a, okay, well, she really loves her brother, but you only get like a taste of that. In this, it's like, okay, well, you get that familiar relationship, and then it starts off as, without spoiling too many things, it gets into that whole thing where she's at the beginnings of her aggro towards basically the city of Seattle before she meets Delsin. Like, you see that building up inside to where, like, she's just like, okay, well, I'm trying to find my brother at the beginning of the game, and I don't care who I work with, how I do it, I just want to find him. And you get to see that play out throughout the game. So it's very cool. That, and if you don't really want to play through the story, you don't have to. There are still some pickups that you get to find along the way. There is an interesting twist on the whole graffiti thing. There's no longer any good side or bad side graffiti. There's just neon graffiti. So like the little bits when you find Fetch in Infamous Second Son, like you actually get to perform that neon graffiti now. You still get to move around the controller and move it across using the gyroscope and the controller and hit a button, and then you just zap walls and you get to have the neon graffiti, which is very cool. Also, there's challenges that you unlock as you play. It's kind of like arcade challenges where you try to get like the best high score during certain situations that the game puts you into. So you can match your high score versus other people online, as well as your friends. So if you're more the competitive type that are looking for, while there still isn't like a multiplayer aspect of the game itself, like playing versus people that are actually in front of you or playing team against team, there's still that aspect of, I got the highest score, beat that, match that. So it's very cool to see that. Other than that, I reloaded all the chapters of The Walking Dead on PlayStation 3. I still have yet to play Chapter 5 of Season 2, so superly I deleted my saves like an idiot. So now I quote-unquote get to play through the entire seasons now.
I still haven't even finished Season 1 yet.
I hear you. There's some slogging going on in like Season 1. Like Season 2 is definitely the better of the two seasons in my opinion. It's just that getting to Season 2, having known what goes on between those two things, knowing exactly what button presses I have to do, it's just that these chapters are built as like 2-hour to 3-hour bits and chunks. Well, I don't have all day to play through all these chapters. So it's definitely going to be a sit down and play a chapter a day type of thing, not just, plow through all these things like I've seen other people do on their own Twitch broadcasts. No offense to those who do. I mean, they have the stamina to do so, the stomach to do so. I would rather do something else other than sit down and play the chapters. Now, if I was streaming it myself, I could see a difference. Basically, hopefully whenever they bring over The Walking Dead to PlayStation 4, like they're doing multiple other games that are coming across as well. We'll talk about that later as well. I'll I'll be more than happy to stream in front of other people. It's just that by myself playing, like, I know what to expect, and I'm not gonna say I'm bored, but I'm just like, I don't want to do this right now.
Right.
So, but enough about me playing video games. Gaming pickups. Again, we brought up Diablo. First Light. I recently picked up Madden as well, so I'm going to be playing that a little bit later on during the week. So that should be pretty interesting. So, now that we're officially out of games played, gaming pickups, recent stuff, let's get into the first portion of the broadcast itself. Now, those who are watching us currently live on Swarley's Twitch page as we're recording episode 102, we do appreciate those who are coming in, those who have stuck around to watch us, or at least hear us through the audio for this. We do appreciate it. Those who would like to participate in the live broadcasting of the show itself, again, you just have to go to twitch.tv/Swarley133. That's twitch.tv/SWARLEY133 if you'd like to participate. If you'd just like to watch a live broadcast of a podcast about video games, about life, about anything that happens between us and online and in life in general, there you go. Come check us out.
Podcast.
There you go. Enough about me blathering. Let's talk about Saints Row 4, Reelected, as well as the upcoming, and this is a huge surprise because I didn't even know about this. All I knew about was just like this little tidbit that Deep Silver Volition had put on Twitter online, how it had like the Saints logo and the number 666, and people were thinking, okay, well, are they going to skip Saints Row 5 and just go to Saints Row 6? No. The image that they posted online had referred to the Gat Out of Hell DLC. Now, we'll talk about that first, and then we'll get back into Saints Row 4 Reelected. Swarley, what do you know about Gat Out of Hell?
Nothing really. I mean, I don't know. I originally picked up Saints Row 4 to play through when it came out, and I don't know. I absolutely love Saints Row the Third. Loved it. But there was just something about Saints Row 4 at the time where it just didn't really click. Maybe it was just how different it was. It felt like an Infamous clone, and the whole time I was playing, I was like, why am I just not playing Infamous again? And I don't know, I just couldn't get through it. Maybe now with it coming, re-releasing for the new gen and with a new DLC coming, maybe I will try to give it another go.
Okay. Now, for those who are looking for more specific details for as far as the DLC is concerned, they have recently put out a trailer for the Gat Out of Hell DLC online. You can probably see it on YouTube. Just type it in and there you go. But basically the idea of it is, and from what I've seen from the trailer itself, it's post-game Saints Row DLC. I've seen some characters that are in the background that you would have noticed if you played throughout the entire game. Basically the idea of this is whoever's left of the Saints after Saints Row 4 have gotten together and have decided of all things to play along with the equivalent of a Ouija board. Now, if you're familiar with the Ouija board, basically you're contacting those spirits from the underworld or from the great beyond and ask some questions.
Those boards are creepy as hell.
They are, especially, if you have somebody falling around and you're working a magnet underneath the table, then it gets really fun. Basically, the Saints ask a question, okay, well, is there anybody that the boss would rule, that the boss, the president of the universe, supreme ruler of everything and beyond, if there was going to be somebody who would rule alongside with that character, who would it be? And the board reacts. It spells out the name Jezebel, and all of a sudden a portal to hell itself opens up behind your boss character. And I'm assuming if you have access to Saints Row 4, that I think the game is going to come out for a previous gen as well, or on PC, your character models themselves will be pulled through the portal. It's not just, okay, well, you have default boss, male boss or female boss or anybody in between. I'm assuming you get to create your own boss if you don't have anything else other than the DLC. That character itself is pulled into hell. Literal portal of hell disappears. Everybody looks around like, okay, well, how the hell are we going to go get the boss? Now, usually what this entails is that the entirety of the Saints gang themselves, or the contingent themselves in this case with Saints Row 4, they all gather together to go pick up the boss. In this case, in the DLC, you yourself get to play as Johnny Gat. Now that has some big ramifications because in previous Saints Row games, you didn't really play anybody else besides your boss character. To be able to play Johnny Gat is an awesome feat because aside from the boss themselves, because of how badass you make your character, because they're essentially you in the game world, the secondary character is Johnny Gat basically in the story. So to be able to play as Johnny Gat and to bring along Kinsey as well, which has become a fan favorite since Saints Row 3 and Saints Row 4. She's going to come in as your sidekick, I believe. I don't know if in co-op, which I'm assuming this would be involved, if you play as Kinsey. I'm not sure. I have not got my hands on a demo of the Gat Out of Hell DLC, but I'm assuming when the DLC drops that you'll be able to play as Player 1 as Gat, Player 2 as Kinsey, and those roles are reversed if you play as Player 2. So, who knows? But you go into Hell itself as Johnny Gat and you try to pull out the boss. And the interesting part about this DLC is that the whole reason why the boss is being pulled into Hell is because the daughter of Satan himself, aka Jezebel, has been chosen to marry the boss because according to lore of whatever, if a member of Satan's family happens to marry a saint, aka an angel, they get to roll above and everything else, which is interesting. However, knowing who the boss is and how awful they are as a person, that probably won't be working out, but hell, Satan doesn't care anyways. So by the end of the trailer, you keep on hearing the tagline that Gat himself, and he says himself that he's literally going to shoot Satan in the face. So by the end of the trailer, you get to see Johnny Gat walk up in front of a room of Satan's lieutenants, in front of Jezebel, and right in front of Satan, he pulls out his 9 and shoots Satan in the face, and he walks off. And he says, as the trailer ends, "I love a wedding." And that's the end of the trailer. So what do you think about that?
There we go.
There you go. Now, my words don't give the DLC justice. Go look at the YouTube video of the trailer of Gat Out of Hell. Whenever it drops, go pick it up if you're old enough, or if you're not, get your bigger brother, your little brother, your parents to go buy it and just go play it. It's awesome. Now, Swarley, I mentioned beforehand that he loves Saints Row 3. He really didn't get into Saints Row 4 because it really reminded him of Infamous. He gets a second go because as the Gat Out of Hell DLC had dropped, a lot of people were asking, okay, well, cool, the DLC's coming out. It's for next gen. Is Saints Row 4 going to drop? And what we got was an answer of Saints Row 4 Reelected, which is basically going to come out for PlayStation 4, for Xbox One, and for PC. And there you go. Everybody that's on current gen gets to play. Very awesome. So now you get your chance to play as Nolan North boss, if you'd like to. So it's very cool. Mike Chase says, Saints Row is mad now. I can understand that, or basically the turn that they took with the game itself, where they basically just, if there was ever a shark to jump over, they put it into a gun and allowed it to eat people out of concrete. And that was in Saints Row 3, so basically going beyond that, and going into outer space, and going into basically the Matrix, and leaving it at that, where the hell else could they have gone? You got superpowers within this computer matrix, you get to do this and that and the other thing, and then, there really wasn't a place for them to go once Saints Row 4 had finished. So I don't know exactly what they're going to do as far as Saints Row 5 is concerned. We're getting the Gat Out of Hell DLC, so you basically get to have, hopefully not just a reskin version of Steelport again, but something different. So something to look forward to. I'm looking forward to playing it because I really dig Saints Row 4. Having heard this news, I really wanted to play Saints Row 3 again, so I happen to have a copy through PlayStation Network on my PlayStation 3. So, and I beat the hell out of that game. I got a platinum on that game, and I rarely get platinums. So, very cool.
I think you should go back to Saints Row 2.
I haven't played that game to death. So, okay. Well, next here on the list is TGS, also known as the Tokyo Gaming. What does the S stand for? Because I'm stupid. Show. There you go. Thank you. Now you see why it's live. Apparently, the first thing to be announced, according to the cheat sheet here, is Resident Evil Revelations.
I completely misspelled Revelations.
Revelations. No, it's okay. Resident Evil Revelations 2, and of course the Resident Evil remake have been announced. Basically, those who are fans of the Resident Evil series, having heard that Resident Evil Revelations 2 is being dropped via Capcom, and the Resident Evil remake, which is basically a up-res version of the GameCube version of the remake of Resident Evil.
The remake of the remake.
Everybody's up in a tizzy like, fucking Capcom. And there's the cussing. You guys been waiting for it. There you go. The idea that Capcom has now taken from, the DLC on the disc and blah, blah, blah. Now they're like, okay, well, fine, fuck it. You guys want a full fucking game on a fucking disc? We're just gonna put out a game that hasn't been out since what, 2003, 2005, without looking it up specifically. Probably earlier than that on the GameCube, and now they're bringing it to 2014, 2015. What do you think about that, Swarley?
I'm excited. Resident Evil, a lot of it hasn't been up my alley recently, and the original remake is definitely a fan favorite of the series. And they showed a trailer last night at their TGS thing, and it looks pretty damn good. And I'm excited to go back to the roots of Resident Evil and see what that's all about. As far as Resident Evil Revelations 2, I am very excited about that. I did play through Revelations 1 this year. I think it was this year. Maybe in the spring. No, that was definitely last year. But I really enjoyed that game. It was a lot of fun. It definitely seemed to, go back a little bit towards, the survival aspect of Resident Evil, and they didn't really. All they showed was a live-action trailer for Revelations 2, but they said both of these games will be out in 2015. So bring it on! I'm ready.
I like the idea that they are bringing Resident Evil into the current gen. A lot of people hated Resident Evil 6. I liked it. I like the idea of having co-op going along with the Resident Evil series, and I believe they had that in Revelations, correct?
Yes.
So bringing that into current gen is going to be awesome. I like it. A lot of survival horror and everything else, but if that was not your cup of tea and you actually want survival horror, you have the Resident Evil remake. There you go. And it's an actual Resident Evil game. It's not just, running and gunning, whatever. But you can set, from what I've heard from a rumor, you can set the controls away from that tank scheme to the action-oriented control scheme that everybody likes. So you can actually run around and, do things, which I found very interesting because the whole spiel of Resident Evil was you're surviving, but you're also working against the controls. You can't just, run away and jump on a table and do all these other things. It's just that you have to, work with what the game gives you. Now, you don't even have to do that anymore. You can just, okay, well, I'm going to get a gun and hopefully not get swarmed by a shit ton of zombies unless you play on hard, which could probably still happen.
Use the tank controls. Do it, people.
Fuck that. Use real controls.
Tank. It's all about the tank.
Unless they have like an unlockable version of the original Resident Evil Director's Cut or something from PlayStation 1, in which case, use the tank controls. Okay. Next up on the list, the official release date for the upcoming Bloodborne game, which is a spiritual successor to the Dark Souls, to the Demon Souls collective franchise. There has been a release date given for the Japanese drop of Bloodborne. Now, do you have a specific date for that, Swarley?
I don't have the exact date. It's in February. But basically, that should give us some sort of indication on when it's going to come over here. So I would definitely get your controllers ready. Get your extra controllers ready. Because they're difficult. Ha ha ha.
Wink wink.
That should give us some indication that Bloodborne will be releasing, North America, Europe, hopefully in February as well. If not, definitely around that time, early 2015.
Yeah, just knowing that there is an actual release date for this game gives us hope that, it's dropping over here soon. We may not... I've heard a rumor that it may drop the same day in the United States. I don't know specifically. Don't quote me on that. I've just heard some things. If that is the case, awesome. If we have to wait a little bit, then, it's worth it. Because from everything that I've heard from people who really dug the Dark Souls series, that has really dug the Demon Souls series, is everything about those types of games that have been able to get their hands on Bloodborne themselves through public demos. I believe they had one over at PAX as well. People have lost their shit over this. This is going to be big.
Yeah, I've definitely been reading the same things from people that've got their hands on it from PAX Prime, people that are big Souls fans that are just in love with this. This is, the Souls games and From Software have a special following of fans, unlike most developers in the industry. And this being a PS4 exclusive, this is going to sell a lot of consoles.
Definitely. So I'm looking forward to this. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up or not. I still have to beat Dark Souls 2. So when it does drop, I'll probably be like every other person that's out there that has to play the brand new thing and just pick it up, play it for a little bit, and then hopefully not die horribly.
You'll watch Ben vs. Game the first night, and you'll be like, man, I gotta have this game.
If Ben wasn't over at PAX right now, he would still be playing Dark Souls 2, and he 100%ed that game. He's on like
ridiculous.
NG plus 4, and he's like, well, with his like 70+ hour broadcasts and shit, I'm like, holy fuck, I can't do more than 5, and he's doing 70. So I don't even want to try 70. The longest I think I've gone was like 6, maybe, on a good day. You can't prove it now because Twitch likes deleting VODs, but it's out there somewhere. I just can't see myself playing a game like Bloodborne that long, but if it's really that good, I might. So something to look forward to. Also something to look forward to, especially in my neck of the woods. Persona 5 has officially been announced as it is coming to PlayStation 3, which was pretty much the only reason why I was still kicking around playing on my PlayStation 3, other than playing The Walking Dead and versions of Mass Effect throughout their trilogy, and Spelunky, and also copies of Persona 3 and Persona 4. Persona 5 has been officially said that they're going to release it on the PlayStation 4.
I'm excited.
That is big news, especially for those who are introduced to the Persona series through Persona 4 Golden on the Vita.
Me.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. JRPGs are something that I haven't really gotten into. I did pick up Persona 4 Golden for the Vita after watching, I can't remember who it was, but I was watching somebody play Persona 3 on Twitch, and I was like, this is kind of cool. And so I picked up Persona 4 on Vita, played through some of that, sold my Vita because I hardly ever touched it. But I enjoyed the game, and I'm glad that this is going to come to both PlayStation consoles. I will, even though I'll probably look like a JRPG complete noob on stream, I'm still excited to play it.
I definitely like the idea that it is coming to next gen, so now everybody gets to play instead of those who, have lovingly kept their consoles like myself, like you have done yourself. It gives a chance for everybody to play it. Now, the interesting thing about this is that I'm assuming, because Persona and the series of Persona itself is like big overseas, that this might be used as a way to sell the PlayStation 4 over there, because people are still attached to their PSPs. People are still attached to their PlayStation 3s. That's a big reason why Persona 5 was staying initially on the PlayStation 3, because they knew where, like, literally every Persona game that has come out has been a big game, has been introduced on a new console. Like Persona 3 and Persona 4 were really introduced on the PlayStation 3. And yes, Persona 4 Golden was introduced on the Vita as well. Those are like, if you're ever going to pick out a JRPG in a series to sell systems, the Persona series it used to be niche. Like, it used to be just Shin Megami Tensei, and now it's this. And like the original Persona 1 and Persona 2 games, I think it was like Innocent Sin, or like Original Sin and something else. Like they split a game in half, basically made it into 2 games, and depending on like a certain point in the story, like they split it off in 2 ways, like 2 different storylines or whatever. And also there was like multiple games on the Nintendo DS. I think there was like Devil Summoner, Overclocked. I know they made a Shin Megami Tensei game. I think it was like 4 or 5 for Nintendo DS that I've heard like it was super fucking hard, but everybody digs it. Like there's a lot going for the series. Even Persona itself is like a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei. So there's a lot going on with this thing as a whole. There's a lot going on with the Persona series since 3. I think they had like a fighting game built out as well.
Yeah, Persona 4 Arena, and I think there's even
it's like a Super Street Fighter version of that, isn't there?
Soon. What?
Like, isn't there like Ultimate Suplex Hold or something like that?
I don't know anything about the game itself.
Gotcha. I can't give you the official name. I've heard some things off of like Giant Bomb. They're bringing out like new characters, new arenas, new versions of the original game.
Yeah,
so
there's something coming out soon.
Yeah, like if there was essentially a version of like Super Street Fighter, that would be it. So they're bringing that out. They have like a rhythm dancing game coming out. They have a couple of handhelds out there, like Persona Q, which is like bringing the... There's a whole lot going on for it. I can go on for days. I'm not going to because we have to go on. A lot of people may not be interested in that stuff. So if you're interested in the Persona series and Shin Megami Tensei, go online, go look about the wiki pages, and you'll see just boatloads of stuff. There's a lot going into that game, into that series. Go check it out. If you're interested, I believe they have 3 and 4 still available on the PlayStation Network. I don't know if it's on Xbox. May or may not be. I don't know if it's just a strictly Sony-based game as far as Persona is concerned in the series. They're still selling Golden for a decent price on Vita. And, yeah, everywhere that you look, you can probably find some Persona somewhere. So, look forward to that. Okay, I talked way too much, so I'm going to let you talk about PlayStation 4 finally getting some themes.
Yes! I don't know who it was I was talking to about this. My English is so good.
God.
But you know, one of my favorite things about the PlayStation 3 was dynamic themes. I mean, I've had my Uncharted 3 dynamic theme up on my PlayStation 3 since the day that I got the code for it from Subway before the game was released. And I'm glad that they're now going to implement that on the PlayStation 4. They showed one at TGS. I can't remember the character's name, but it's definitely a dynamic theme, not just a wallpaper. So
was it that weird white cat thing?
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Like Toro or something like that. Totoro.
Totoro. Like but it's coming. Dynamic themes coming this fall. They didn't announce what exactly would be available. Hopefully we get something that I'm interested in, so I don't have to keep staring at that blue all the time. I would love to get, some Infamous, something for Delson. I'll have to wait for Uncharted to come out before we get something for that, though, unfortunately. But, it's coming this fall in an update, so get ready.
What I'm going to find very interesting is if they're going to release the code as to how to make these themes, because I don't know specifically how people got the coding and how to make their own specific themes for PlayStation 3.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, because seeing the file name itself and how entire websites are built off of how to make your own personalized wallpapers and buttons and things of that nature, and sound effects to make your own themes for PlayStation 3. If they put that out there for PlayStation 4, I would have to assume A, they'll do it themselves, or B, somebody will be able to hack into the coding that the people haven't done that already and jailbroken their PlayStation 4s. It's gonna be interesting to see what comes out for personalized themes, because a lot of people like myself have just simply gone online, generally through the PlayStation 3, and have downloaded your own personalized files for PlayStation 3 for your own personalized theme. So I don't know how the hell they're going to do that with PlayStation 4, but if it's still the same method of doing that, where you just plug it and play, that's awesome. Because I'm assuming there's going to be a shit ton of anime wallpapers, some Playboy stuff, how people like to see naked girls on their television. There's been a lot of soccer teams in their backgrounds on there as well. Some other stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that, because a lot of people don't want to be paying more than like $1 for themes, and they have been selling themes on the PlayStation Network from upwards to like $5, and they look like shit. So
if I got an Infamous or Uncharted theme, or I can't think of anything else that I would spend money on, but if they got me one of those themes, I'd pay $4.99 for it.
If it's officially licensed, cool. Especially if it comes with like a little bit of DLC, then fine. You're paying for DLC, whatever. But if it's something like a moving picture that moves like 2 frames back and forth, then that's just stupid. So no offense to those who will put those together, the artwork put into that, the time and effort put together to make those themes, just it ain't for me, man. Just saying. Okay, let's move right along. And for those who have been paying attention and those who have been hanging out with us in chat, we do appreciate it here on the episode 102 of the Virtual Sports Network Arcade Radio podcast, sponsored by VirtualSportsNetwork.com. Sign up for forums today. Do it. Let's see. According to this, Assassin's Creed Unity has been delayed by 2 weeks. Now, what's the deal with that, Swarley, since you are the expert of the game itself?
Basically, they just said, hey, we need, a couple extra weeks to do some extra polishing, make sure the game is perfect, which, 2 weeks, that's no biggie. I mean, you got plenty of games this fall anyways. 2 weeks really isn't anything. Anything for us. It gives them a couple extra weeks to do some fine-tuning with whatever they need to do, so that's good. The interesting thing is now it is going to release the same day as Assassin's Creed Rogue, which, if you don't know, Assassin's Creed Unity is PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC only, no last gen. And Assassin's Creed Rogue is PS3 and 360 only, not on new gen, although it would be... It's interesting that they haven't announced PC for Rogue, those two AC games releasing on the same day, so that'll give me a lot of AC to play at the same time, and I am absolutely excited about that. Get that extra polish on the game. It's always good to do that instead of throwing out a game that's completely broken or something. So there's nothing wrong with that. Unity, 2 weeks back, same day as Rogue.
Awesome.
That's all right.
I have to step away from the broadcast here shortly. I do apologize. Swarley, I ask of you as a favor to an internet friend, can you skip Dragon Age Inquisition multiplayer till I get back and talk about how Amazon bought Twitch a little bit afterwards?
I will go ahead and do that. I was going to do that anyways, since Dragon Age is your thing.
I do appreciate it. I'll be right back. I do apologize to those who are watching this live. I will be right back as soon as I can. Sorry.
So, we got some interesting news recently that Amazon bought Twitch for $970 million, just shy of $1 billion. This news came up quite fast. It was rumored one morning, and then, later that day, Twitch made the official announcement. And I think it caught a lot of people off guard because it'd been rumored for, quite a long time this year that Twitch was getting purchased by YouTube and Google, which, that didn't really go over so well with a lot of the Twitch community because we've seen a lot of the things that Google has implemented for YouTube, and for gamers it just seems to have been a humongous pain in the ass. With people getting copyrighted fairly and unfairly. And, people just haven't been happy about that. And it's just, it just been a pain to go through the process at YouTube and of getting that stuff corrected. On top of that, Google trying to shove Google Plus down everyone's throat at YouTube. I can't even begin to guess how many times I'd logged onto YouTube and it was like, do you want to connect your Google Plus account with your YouTube account? And even when you said no, they still kind of fucked up your account and whatnot, and it was, oh my god, it was such a pain in the dick. Finally though, I haven't been asked to do that in quite some time. Maybe people just complained enough that they stopped throwing it down your throat every time you tried to sign in. But that's been nice. But yeah, Amazon bought Twitch, buying Twitch in the process, $970 million. A lot of people like this a lot better than the Google thing. Amazon has said they're not going to change anything about Twitch. Obviously, Twitch is growing like crazy. They've got something that works. There's no need to mess that up. Obviously we just got the copyright stuff with Twitch. That was going to happen anyways. When you get big enough, you got to make sure your ass is covered a little bit. Which is funny. Some people running to Hitbox TV, which, if they were to get big enough, they would have to do this too. So I found that kind of amusing. But, Amazon is a massive company. They've got lots of money. They can give Twitch the support on the back end that Twitch needs at times. If you've been on Twitch during the big tournament weekends with games, with the MOBA games, you realize that, their servers and back end can sometimes get a little crowded. It can mess up. Can mess up your viewing weekend, even some streaming. So, hey, we've got Amazon's massive bank account. Get some server support in there. So yeah, it's a good thing, and I'm glad that Amazon came right out and said, hey, we're not going to screw the site up. We know why you love it. We're going to keep it the same. Be Single 40 asking a question, do you think Amazon will make Twitch a Prime option? I would say no. Because, Twitch already has Twitch already has a subscription thing. I'm not talking about with the individual partners for channels, but they've got the what the hell is it called? Twitch. I completely forgot what it's called. But they've got that thing where you can, I think it's like $5 a month to Twitch, and you get extra emotes, ads removed, whatnot. But yeah, I don't think Amazon will push Prime on Twitch at all. I think they'll just say, hey, the site is running perfectly as it is. The structure, whatnot, it's fine. We'll just put the money on the back end, make sure everything runs smoothly. on tournament weekends, whatnot. So yeah, I really don't see Prime coming in at all. Let's see, what are you guys talking about? Yeah, exactly. With the lawsuits, yeah. It's just gonna happen. But yeah, Amazon, Twitch, $970 million, which it'd be interesting to see what Google was going to buy it for, because it was rumored to be in the neighborhood of $1 billion. Who knows if we'll ever know why that deal fizzled out. Yeah, it was rumored for months and months that Google was coming in to buy, and it was just boom. Hey, he's gonna buy it, and later that day it was done. So yeah, there's not much else to say on that. We'll wait for Jay to come back before we get into Dragon Age Inquisition, because he is an absolute lover of the BioWare games and Dragon Age in particular. So yeah, if there's anything you guys want to talk about there that are watching the channel, go ahead and throw out some stuff you want covered, talked about, whatnot. And I will take this this brief moment to advertise our guest that we had earlier in the show from SimulationFL. They do an All-Pro Football 2K8 Simulation League, and you should definitely check it out. They've got 2 broadcasts today, one here in 30 minutes at 3 p.m., and then they've got another one tonight at 6 p.m. Central. You can check that out at twitch.tv/SimulationFL. Should be very cool. I know myself, I will be there to watch the game tonight between the Baltimore Crabs and the New York Knights. And TJ is asking for the iRacing. There is we've got the league on virtualsportsnetwork.com. Apex Racing on there. It's about halfway down the site. And we've also got a league page over on iRacing.com itself. You have to be a member to see, an iRacing member to see it on their website, but it's just on the leagues tab, and if you type in Apex Racing, it'll be there under my name, which is Kyle Kelly. So, and Jay is back, so let's talk some Dragon Age Inquisition.
Hi. Yeah, I'm all hot and sweaty moving around some chairs from outside to a front porch. In the middle of a broadcast. Shame on me. Okay, so, let's see. Google receives over 95% of the revenues from advertising. Awesome.
Yeah, we are going through Google and Amazon and Twitch stuff.
Fuck Google, go Amazon. There you go. Let's see. Please don't. If Google decides to buy virtualsportsnetwork.com, I'm sorry, Google. I love you. Let's see. Dragon Age Inquisition multiplayer. I don't know. Where do I start? Alright, well. If you are unfamiliar with the Dragon Age series, there has been Dragon Age Origins, there has been Dragon Age Awakening, there has been Dragon Age 2, and all the multiple DLCs for that as well. And now they're coming out with Dragon Age Inquisition, which, according to the lore itself, the official games... Mike, don't say that. Google would waste their time on a virtual source network. We love Google. The third in the series, basically the whole entire idea of the story is we gone from the Darkspawn invading early. We took care of that in Origins. Then we had the idea of, okay, what happens with city politics and city and basic geographical politics when it comes to differing sides of who runs a city in Dragon Age 2. And then by the end of Dragon Age 2, we got to this whole big mess about how, okay, this whole thing has been boiling over. There has been two different factions. The Chantry, which is basically, if you want to get into the nitty-gritty about it, it's like if the Holy Roman Catholic Church was in medieval times, but had ruling authority over those who can cast magic. And the mages, who are basically those who can cast magic. Now, the Chantry has been kind of tentatively working with the mages because they both need each other. The mages need the Chantry in order to hold order over people who use magic for other things besides good. Stuff like blood magic and things like that, if you want to get into more specifics. But basically, the Chantry's there to make sure that the mages don't, lose their shit. Because it's like if Superman didn't have any control over his powers, like he didn't think to be a good person, the Chantry sees the mages as that. They're like, okay, well, these people need to be checked. Now, the mages look at the Chantry as, well, we can run our own shit. We have our own circle of the Magi, which was seen in Origins and which was broken up in 2. And basically their whole idea was, okay, well, we can self-govern. We don't need the Chantry, but on the download, we are, doing evil pacts with demons and shit like that. Like, we know what's going on, but we can't exactly pinpoint that out. That's why we need the Chantry to go suss that out for us, because we can't do it by ourselves. They need each other. But by the end of 2, they butt heads to the point where all-out war is happening. And that opens up into Dragon Age Inquisition, where basically the whole idea is, holy shit, people with superpowers versus the Chantry. And now you're trying to figure out, okay, how to stop this. And then all of a sudden, a portal to basically the underworld opens up over the entire world of the game. And all these demons and otherworldly monsters pop out and start fucking up everybody. And your character, as the Inquisitor, is in charge of stopping this. That's the game itself. You have to basically stop the end of the world yet again and try to get everybody to get along. You marshal your own army, you get people to go and do things for you, kind of like you could do in Brotherhood with Assassin's Creed, where you build up certain characters and send them off to do shit for you that you normally couldn't do yourself in the middle of the game. You doing that in Inquisition multiplayer is this. Those characters that you're building up, now you get to play as those characters. But in multiplayer, it's just like, if you want to compare it to something, it's like Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, where, yes, you are involved in the story of Mass Effect 3, but you're never really going to meet Shepard. You're never going to shake hands with Shepard. You're never going to meet the main story characters. You're never going to meet Rex. You're never going to meet Tali. You're never going to meet Ken and or Ashley. You're never going to meet Liara. But you could play as a Krogan. You could play as, a Quarian. You could play as a Turian. Cool stuff like that. In Inquisition, you get to play as a rogue. You get to play as a warrior. You get to play as a mage. You get to play as an elf. I believe you can play as a Canary, a dwarf. And just like Mass Effect 3, you get to unlock stuff as you continue to play on. Now, Mike Chase is asking, do I need to play the first two Dragon Age games to play this game? No. The idea of Inquisition is this. Just like in the previous 2 games, starting with Dragon Age 2, if you did not play Origins, you are given the option of, okay, well, what exactly happened in Origins if you didn't play? Did so-and-so kill themselves for the greater good? Did they become king? Did you allow somebody to live that may or may not be a good person, but for the greater good they were allowed to live? Did you kill this character? Did you do this? Did you piss on Adraste's ashes and do some weird shit along the way in Origins? In Inquisition, you're given that same option, especially if you're playing on current gen, on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on PC. If you have not played those previous games, you could just tell the game, okay, well, this happened, and this happened, and this happened in the game. That's what I wanted to happen without having to play 100 to 200 plus hours of the first 2 games to do so. Now, with the multiplayer with Inquisition, there are some tentative things, because there has been rumors spread out there, just like with Mass Effect 3, you can essentially pay your way into higher level characters earlier on. You can earn points and earn the abilities to go and unlock bigger and better badass characters as you play along. You don't have to spend a dime. But if you want to, you can get access to the bigger badass characters earlier on. Some people are pissed about that, but in the grand scheme of things, you're playing multiplayer. You're not, paying to win. You're just paying to get, a better looking dude or a better looking lady. So,
which is lame because, part of the point of playing is progressing.
Yeah, for those who don't have the time to do that stuff, though, I get it. It's just like if you're trying to play a mobile game, but you don't have the time to put in, 20, 30 plus hours. You're just riding on the train. You're just, driving to work, and you want to, you're stuck at the stoplight. You want to play some Candy Crush Chronicles, or whatever. You get it in. It's okay. I understand. But for those of us
they're
like
chicken shits,
I wouldn't say that. I understand the current climate of gaming. Not to sound so heady, but understanding from what I've been seeing online and through multiple gaming websites and things like that, I see where the wind's blowing. I get it. But if you're like us, you're going to take the time to play multiplayer. The good thing about this is, unlike Mass Effect 3 pre-patch, you don't have to play the multiplayer. You can just play the story. You'll be fine. In the grand scheme of things, Inquisition multiplayer, according to those who are building the game, other than the characters and other than the storyline and lore, has nothing to do with the single player. You don't have to touch multiplayer. You don't have to interact with other people online, because we get that. Some people online are assholes. We get that. You don't have to play multiplayer. Like me. But if you want to play with assholes like myself or Swarley Deer here, you can play multiplayer. You can play on multiple maps where I don't think it's procedurally generated, but they have, from what I've been hearing, on one map that they're allowing other people to play on PAX and other Bioware-themed events. They set it up to where there are different locations that are interconnected, and you playing as your character, you go along with a group of 4, I believe. Don't quote me on that. You go with this group, and you go from section to section to section. You're performing certain tasks, doing certain things in order to progress. As you progress, you get better armor. You get access to points that allow you to unlock better characters along the way. And the cool thing about this is, like any good RPG that's out there that you get to play with multiple people, you need to play as different classes as you play. You can't just play as all warrior. You can't just play as all rogue. You can't just play as all mages. You have to have an even mix. So those who need magic assistance in certain rooms, if you happen to have a mage with you, there you go. If you need somebody to unlock some things that you can't break with your foot as a warrior, there you go. You have a locksmith. You need somebody to just beat the shit out of a giant boss and tank a bunch of damage. Well, if you're running all rogues, you can't do that. But if you have some big badass motherfucker that's a warrior, there you go. Always awesome from what I'm hearing. Nothing bad from what I'm hearing. I'm hearing a lot of good things about this stuff. I'm hearing stuff online through Twitch, through Twitter, how people are just playing this multiplayer at PAX and saying, wow, this shit's going to be awesome. I want to play this stuff. So now, according to B-Single40, Dragon Age games are good, worth every penny, but they need to take it to the next level like Skyrim did. I would agree with that. The interesting thing about Inquisition itself is that it is guided open worldness. You go from place to place to place within zones. It's not just like in Origins where you build a small map for people to walk through. You finish out different things that may have multiple locations within the same small map, but it's not the same as going from a forest land to a desert land to a water land. Not water world. Be careful. All in the same walkthrough. You can ride horses, I believe, too, to get along faster. It's a lot of cool stuff. So I'm looking forward to the multiplayer. Mike Chase is asking me, will this be Jay's Game of the Year? I don't know. It's really hard to beat Advanced Warfare. But I'll try.
Grow up, Jay.
Shut up. Never. But yeah, Inquisition multiplayer is going to be pretty rad. It's coming out in November. All this game is coming out in November. So we have a lot of games to talk about upcoming during the fall. We're barely in September. It's the first day of September. We're not officially in fall yet. When that drops, you got September, you got October, you got November, you got December. Black Friday's coming up. Beginning of 2015. A lot of good shit coming in. So there's a lot to talk about when it comes to Game of the Year. But Okay, since we skipped with Amazon buying Twitch, I dig the idea myself to add into that. Google buying Twitch had a lot of people up in a tizzy. They didn't want this whole thing where, oh, they're doing copyright shit like that and messing with VODs and things like that. It's like, okay, well, are you going to pay for your own shit on fucking Twitch? Or are you going to host this own thing? I said this last week. If you're not willing to host your own stuff through Twitch, shut the fuck up. That's all I got to say. If you can't handle it, don't stream on Twitch. Okay? If you want to keep your thing in one singular whole, this is my music, this is my game all together, good. Host it yourself. You want to try it on YouTube? Guess what? You're going to get slammed with copy. That's what's going to happen. Someone's going to catch that little bit of game music, that little bit of audio from some obscure 80s band that nobody's ever heard of that happens to be in your VOD that you're putting on YouTube. Guess what? If Google/YouTube catches you doing that, you're going to get a strike against you. So Amazon buying Twitch, yeah, nobody wants to deal with copyright. But Amazon buying Twitch, now they have their own video game arm that they've been trying to do through Amazon and gaming that, we've gotten some hints about coming along on certain things going, I think, with like Fire or something like that, I think it was. But now they have their official gaming arm. And now the Amazon Prime has allowed people to look at movies, look at television episodes and things like that. Now they have their own video game arm. Google has YouTube. So now you have two different things. A lot of people see it as a monopoly when it comes to gaming or whatever, but, want to make that money, you got to do it somehow. So jump on the ship if you want to with Twitch, or if you want to do it on, Hitbox, or if you want to do it through, Uplay or whatever. Do what you got to do. If you want to broadcast, do it. Just, don't bitch about it unless you feel like, hosting on your own shit. And that costs money, just so you know. That's my 2 cents. There you go. Talked way too much. Are you looking forward to Inquisition multiplayer?
I'm not going to be getting the game on release, so I can't really answer that question.
You are butts. You need to buy that game so I can play with you.
Well, the thing is, I haven't played the series yet, even though I own it. And I can't bring myself to play Inquisition before I've played Origins, Awakening, and 2.
I can spoil it for you real quick if you like.
No.
Then play the fucking games, man. So I can play with you. Don't be like Twig and say, I don't want to play Mass Effect. He who should not be named. I don't want to play Mass Effect 3 multiplayer because I haven't played the game yet, and I have to play all these games beforehand. Play the fucking games, dude. That's what I'm saying. Play the games.
I'll get to them at some point.
Do it. I don't care if you got to... Well, don't dismantle Apex Racing. It's a very important thing. We want people to go to Apex Racing. Follow along. Go to virtualsportsnetwork.com/forums. Sign up for the forums today. Go check out Apex Racing. Support Swarley and what he does. It's good stuff. Okay. Almost done here with the podcast. We do have some final thoughts. I've been talking forever. Swarley, got any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I am now the three-peat champion at Apex Racing, which when I first joined, I would have never thought that would have been possible. Been fun battling with those guys. I'm excited for the next season. Excited to get back into some Alpha Protocol this week because I absolutely love that game. And I'm excited to watch the SimulationFL stream later today. I'm excited to see what they're all about.
Right. Oh, you know who's live streaming at PAX right now?
Man vs. Game.
Fucking Man. God damn it. The man never stops. I want to be like Man, except, with more voice and less coffee. Okay. I don't know. Final thoughts from me. Thank you everybody in chat that's been following along. I won't name you guys because I know how the whole Twitch thing works, where if you're ghosting, if you're just spectating, you don't want to participate in chat, you don't want to be called out. I understand. For those of you who are in chat right now, thank you for watching. Thank you for participating today in episode 102 of the Virtual Sports Network Arcade Radio podcast. Those who are coming along in the near future, those who have dropped off in the past to watch us do this stuff, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to come watch us do this stuff. Because without you guys, we wouldn't be doing this, to be honest. So, thank you very much. Thank you to Swarley for doing this, being Mr. Producer Man once again, dragging my ass out of bed to do this stuff. Thank you to Mr. Cameron Irvine. I'm an asshole. I'm sorry, Mr. Irvine. I'm just playing. Mr. Cameron Irvine taking time out of the day to help us out with the broadcast, to promote SimulationFL.com. That's SimulationFL.com. Good luck to you guys. Go check them out. Go follow them on the Twitter. Go follow them on Twitch. Just, support people. Support. Hashtag SFL Pride Day today. Go check them out. Go watch them. It's spectacular stuff. If you dug All Pro Football 2K, go check that out. It's very awesome. That's what I'm saying. Those who are in chat that support that stuff, thank you very much for doing that. Those who are interested in Simulation FL, go check them out. High class stuff. It's not just, some shitty Madden League where, you write down some stats and then pretend to play with players. It's not the same. They have high production values. They have their own broadcasting team. It's amazing. That's what I'm saying. So go support them. Go support people at virtualsportsnetwork.com. I've said it multiple times. I'm not kidding. We need all the love. We need all the support that you guys can give us. Sign up for the forums. Go check out the multiple leagues for Madden. Go check out Apex Racing League. Go check out everything that has to do with the forums. We're here for you. Thank you very much. Let's see. What does it say? Love the new format, guys, according to Mr. Bill, of course. Please be sure to export to YouTube and Podomatic and iTunes. No fucking shit. What do you think we do, Bill? Kidding. Probably want to cut that out. I don't want to get in trouble. Anyways, are we done here?
Yeah. Last final thought for those guys that are new today. We have just started the past few weeks doing live broadcasts of our podcast. All of
Hit the
them,
follow button, suckers.
All of them will be live broadcasts from here on out. We also have them on YouTube at the Virtual Sports Network channel, and they also go on Podomatic and iTunes for those who like to download, to your phone, to your iPod. Listen whenever you want. So yeah, there's tons of way to listen. Live broadcasting has been a lot of fun. A lot of fun to get some interaction with the followers and fans out there. So stay tuned to my channel. Stay tuned to Virtual Sports Network to find out when each show goes live. Thank you, TJ CAG SFL, for saying that we're doing a great show. It's all Swarley. I just show up here, I ramble on, and I leave. That's what I do. It's all Swarley. I'm telling you. Give him a follow. If you deem it necessary to follow me on Twitch, go to JayDizzle04. That's JayDizzle04. That's 04. That's where I stream on Twitch. I don't know exactly what I'm streaming this week. If you do see me on there, hit the follow button. It's probably going to be around 7 Central, 8 Eastern, something cool like that. Probably going to be Diablo again. I'm not sure. I need to start doing Madden. I want to play with Swarley again on a bro update. I don't know what he's doing today. He's probably going to be super busy, so probably not today. If it is today, who knows? I gotta go do some mowing at my grandmother's house, and then I'm going to come back and watch that SFL game. There you go. Check him out. Nobody wants to play with me online. I see how it is. I'm kidding. Anyways, also, like I said before, follow Swarley on Twitch. He does a damn good job. I'm rambling on. I'm gushing. We need to go. Swarley, say goodbye. Smooches, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for listening to episode 102 of the Virtual Sports Network Arcade Radio podcast, sponsored by VirtualSportsNetwork.com. Sign up for forums today. Thank you once again to the SFL. Have a good day. Bye.